Hi everyone, welcome to another video. This video is going to be on estimating roots, which is a very specific question on the GCSE paper. Also very simple. If you can get your head around it, it should be easy marks for you. If you want to take part in this lesson and have a go at any of the questions I put on screen, which I always advise is the best way for you to learn how to do these things for yourself and to help you remember them, then all you will need is something to write with and on. I have suggested you may have a calculator if you would like one, but it's not necessary. And these sorts of questions can be on both non-calculator and calculator papers. And so I would advise if you can do this without relying on a calculator, that's even better. I'm going to jump straight in, so if you would like a second to read the task board, then feel free to pause the video and hit play when you're ready to start. A quick reminder of square numbers and square roots because this will play an important part in the lesson today. Square numbers are obtained by multiplying any integer by itself. The square root returns the square number to the integer it came from. So these are inverses of each other. Now, if powers and roots is not something you're comfortable with yet, it could be worth going to watch my other video on that first. I'll link it up above and then returning to this one. However, if a quick recap here gets you set on the right track, then you're more than welcome to just carry on with me here. So square numbers, for example, if I times 1 by itself, I would get 1. If I times 2 by itself, I would get 4. 3 times by itself gets 9. 4 times by itself gets 16, and so on. So these are how we get our square numbers. So the square numbers are the answers here. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, and so on. They are the square numbers. The square root, which would look like this, is the number that we times by itself to get the number in the root. So if I'm asking, what's the square root of 25? The answer would just be 5. Because 5 is the number I'd square to get to 25. And if I did something like the square root of 100 is 10, because 10 times 10 gets 100. And so the sorts of questions you might get asked about estimating roots is something like this. Find two consecutive integers between which the square root of 10 lies. Now, just a few reminders. Integers are whole numbers, which is very good for us because we don't want to be working with an infinite number of decimals. And consecutive, I've written at the bottom, one after another. So for example, 7 and 8 are consecutive integers. 12 and 13 are consecutive integers because they're next to each other. Something like 20 and 23, they're not because they're not next to each other. 20 and 21 would be consecutive integers. 105 and 106 would be consecutive integers. So we're looking between two whole numbers. Where does the square root of 10 lie? And the way you're going to do this is look at your square numbers. So it's always good practice to write them down. I'll be putting them in for my examples, but eventually you're going to need to know them for yourself. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, and so on. So these are the first 12 square numbers. You are going to look in this list where 10 lies. So hopefully we can see that 10 would be somewhere between 9 and 16. So if I pop these numbers into square roots, so square root of 9 and square root of 16, and the one we're interested in the middle is the square root of 10. Well, we know that the square root of 9 is 3 because 3 times 3 is 9, and the square root of 16 is 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. Therefore, the square root of 10 lies between 3 and 4. Remember, it's only asking us to find two consecutive integers, so two numbers, two whole numbers next to each other that root 10 is in between. And we can see that it's in between the whole number 3 and the whole number 4. Here's one for you to have a go at. Pause the video and hit play when you're ready to see the solution. This time you're looking at root 27, so we need to look at our square numbers and decide where 27 lies. And if I go back over here, hopefully you can see it's between 25 and 36. So there's the square root of 25, the square root of 36, and root 27 lies somewhere between those. The square root of 25 is 5 and the square root of 36 is 6. So our root 27 lies somewhere between the whole numbers 5 and 6. On to our next pair. Find two consecutive integers between which the square root of 139 lies. So 139 would be between 121 and 144. We know that the square root of 121 is 11 and the square root of 144 is 12. Therefore, the root they've given us, 139, is somewhere between 11 and 12. In other words, if we did type the square root of 139 into our calculator and converted it to a decimal, we would find that that number is 11 point something, somewhere between 11 and 12. Here's another one for you to have a go at. Pause the video and hit play when you're ready to see the solution. Square root of 99 lies just before square root of 100. So if we've got root 81 and root 100, square root of 81 is 9, square root of 100 is 10, so root 99 would be way up this end, but we do know that it's somewhere between 9 and 10, and it's so close to the square root of 100. If we type in the square root of 99 and converted it to a decimal in our calculators, we're probably going to find it's going to be 9.9 something. It's going to be towards that higher end, much closer to 10. Some quick multiple choice questions for you now. I'll pop a quick timer on the screen just to keep us on track, but if timers don't work for you, then do just pause the video if you need more time and hit play as you need to. Your first one, find two consecutive integers between which the square root of 50 lies, and as you can see, the square numbers are on your screen to help you out with this. Here are your options. That one was D, it lies between 7 and 8. Find two consecutive integers between which the square root of 115 lies. Here are your options. That one was B, between 10 and 11. Find two consecutive integers between which the square root of 20.3 lies. Here are your options again. That one was A, between 4 and 5. Well done if you got those correct. On to the last little bit, which is just some independent practice for you to try out these skills. And do notice the last two questions I've written as worded problems because in the exam they might choose to hide this skill in a slightly more challenging problem. I'll be popping the answers up so you'll be able to check these in just a moment, so pause the video so you've got plenty of time to have a go at these and then hit play when you're ready to see the answers. And here are your answers for these questions. So take your time, go through and mark these, and if there's anything you're unsure about, please feel free to go back and watch the examples again. Sometimes it just helps to see them once more. Although if you do have any specific questions or you're not sure about how some of these answers were achieved, then do pop it down in a comment below and I will try to explain it to you further. We do aim to answer all questions and comments related to the content of the video, so we will be on hand to support if needed. All that's left to be said is a big well done for taking part in this video lesson today. Make sure you're subscribed so that you can find us again either for more video lessons or if you just need some help and support on your route to your GCSE exams. If you also like short form content, then we are also on TikTok and Instagram where we post revision quizzes and tips. But for now, well done. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Charlotte. I'll see you in another one very soon.